Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into episode 5 of the Spectre of Insight series, and we're tackling a really fascinating question. What if we completely stopped obsessing over building a slightly better company and instead focused our energy on architecting an entire market? We're going to unpack the Spectre OS. It's essentially a cognitive toolkit for founders who are ready to build the economic architecture of the future, turning everyday market complaints into brilliant structural blueprints. Let's get into it.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, architects versus company builders. Second, the Spectre operating system itself. Third, the market spectrum framework. Fourth, infrastructure for tokenized economies. And finally, the regulatory advantage.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, Architects versus Company Builders.
This is a massive paradigm shift. You see, most founders operate strictly as company builders. They spot a pain point, they build a product, and then they absolutely fight tooth and nail for a tiny slice of the existing pie. But market architects, they ask a totally different question. They ask, what system actually governs this market, and how can I completely redesign it? So while builders are fighting for scraps within the current rules, architects are out there redesigning the rules themselves. Your competition isn't that other startup down the street. Your competition is structural inefficiency. It's literally the difference between trying to start a slightly better taxi fleet versus just stepping back and building Uber.
I absolutely love this Spectre principle. The most powerful position in any market is not the best player, it is the architect of the game. It perfectly reveals the invisible architecture of value creation. When you compete inside a market, you're capped. You're limited by the existing banks, the legal frameworks, the current distribution frictions. But if you design the system, you control exactly how value flows. So for you, this means shifting your entire focus from fighting competitors to fighting the actual infrastructure itself.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Spectre operating system.
Okay, so how do you actually make that shift? Well, you have to master systems thinking. Instead of just looking at users and isolated features, you need to train your brain in pure pattern recognition. You gotta spot the nodes, the rails, and the friction points hiding right beneath the surface. Customer pain is just a symptom. The system's design is the actual disease. And the crazy thing is, once you start seeing these patterns, like rent-seeking middlemen just extracting value, or massive information gaps across totally different industries, you literally can't unsee them.
Think of the Spectre OS as a 6-part intellectual machine for your mind. It flows so logically. First, you've got a founder memory engine to capture your observations and build up a pattern library. Then an idea engine to form strong hypotheses and a research lab for deep market analysis. It even includes a content engine to build publishable influence, which, by the way, is a core philosophy behind the Spectre of Insight brand. Then you have the opportunity scanner monitoring big structural forces, and finally the execution engine to manage the venture design. You aren't just sitting around brainstorming anymore. This is a highly structured factory for processing reality.
Now for Section 3, the market spectrum framework. Every single market on Earth operates on these 7 invisible layers. Let's build it from the bottom up. You have the asset, ownership rights, payment rails, capital flows, trust mechanisms, coordination between parties, and sitting right at the very top, culture. Now, most founders waste all their time innovating only at that very top layer. They try to change surface behaviors or build another matching app. But true market architects, they go deep. Redesigning a base layer, like taking a physical asset and shifting it into a digitized token, rewires absolutely everything above it, unlocking entirely new economic realities.
To actually pinpoint these structural gaps, you can use this super practical 4-step diagnostic tool. Step 1. Decompose the market into those 7 architectural layers we just talked about. Step 2. Diagnose the friction. Ask yourself, where is a middleman taking a totally unnecessary cut? Step 3. Design a new architecture. If trust is too expensive, make it algorithmic. If ownership is completely locked up, fraction it out. And finally, Step 4. Validate. And by validate, I don't mean a slight improvement. I mean ensuring this redesign creates massive exponential value.
Let's make this concrete in Section 4, Infrastructure for Tokenized Economies.
Let's apply all this theory to a tangible execution engine that's currently in development, HubSecure, which is fundamentally powered by the SpecHub infrastructure. Now listen, SpecHub isn't just another SaaS product, not at all. It's an open-source AI and blockchain-powered business infrastructure. It's designed specifically for European data sovereignty and the future of tokenized economies. By offering a free core, but with premium enterprise features, SpecHub completely shifts from just selling a single product to actually owning the underlying market rails.
Take a look at how this execution engine maps directly to specific structural needs across some truly massive traditional industries. For SMBs who are terrified of vendor lock-in, the SpecHub infrastructure steps in as a safe, open-source alternative. In real estate, it hits the asset and ownership layers right on the head through real-world asset tokenization. Over in maritime and professional services, it tackles the trust layer with highly secure compliance logging. It's one cohesive architectural solution, perfectly positioned to solve fragmented friction across multiple sectors.
And finally, Section 5, the regulatory advantage. If you're looking at the world as just a product builder, you see things like the EU Data Act, the NIS2 Directive, or MiCA, and you probably panic. You just see compliance nightmares and massive legal bills. But if you're looking through the lens of the Spectre OS, you see a massive tailwind. These regulations are literally forcing entire industries to upgrade their digital infrastructure. If your venture natively solves these mandates, the law actually forces the market to adopt your infrastructure. Let's use the EU AI Act as an example. By building automatic compliance logging natively into the fundamental architecture of a platform powered by SpecHub, you completely remove the institutional friction that totally paralyzes ordinary builders. You aren't just selling a neat feature anymore. You are selling peace of mind. You are selling legal survival. When your infrastructure makes compliance automatic and completely invisible, it just naturally becomes the default operating system for the industry. And let me tell you, that is an uncrossable moat.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one pivotal question to really evaluate your own venture's defensibility. Are you merely competing on the product layer, just optimizing features and fighting for marginal market share? Or are you redesigning the market's fundamental architecture? Because the truth is, the future doesn't belong to the builders. It belongs to the architects. Evaluate your industry, find that structural friction, and go rewrite the rules. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.